This is not going to be a normal admissions cycle. And this has nothing to do with you personally. It's because there are a lot of different structural changes hitting at the same time. We've got changes with law school loans, changes with LSAT score inflation, changes with more people applying to law school, and that's all leading things to be more competitive. And I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005. I've watched this cycle repeat itself again and again and again. I saw this back in 2008 during the Great Recession. I saw it again in 2020 with the pandemic. We're seeing it again now. And every year, people ask me, is this the year things finally get easier? And unfortunately, the answer is no. The biggest change we're seeing right now is that Grad Plus loans are disappearing. For decades, we had a pretty simple system when it came to funding higher education. You would take out federal Stafford loans, roughly $20,000 a year. Then you would use Grad Plus loans to cover the rest. That would cover tuition, living expenses, fees, books, even basic survival costs. You didn't need a cosigner, or there was no income requirement, and you even had income-driven repayment. But that system is going away due to changes to funding in higher education. The Stafford loans are still there, but they're not going to cover a $60,000 to $100,000 annual cost of attendance. And this change goes into effect starting July of 2026, so it will affect anybody starting law school next fall. So now going forward, you're going to have three options to fund your education. The first option is private loans. And this is where a lot of people get hurt because you've got higher interest rates, sometimes 10% or more. There are stricter repayment terms than what you have with federal guaranteed loans. There's no income-based repayment, no forgiveness programs, and no safety net. And so your approval will depend on your credit and your income, which a lot of applicants don't even have yet. And the debt will compound fast. The second option is support from your family. And if that's available to you, that's great. But for most applicants, it's not. Many are first generation. Many come from middle or working class backgrounds. And so six-figure tuition just is not something that their families can absorb. Which brings us to option three, getting scholarship money. And this is where the LSAT stops being just a test and becomes a financial lever. Because law schools reward merit aid based on one thing, your numbers. In particular, your LSAT score. They're not given scholarships based on your application essays or your resume or your personal story. It's just a single three-digit number, your LSAT. Imagine you've got two applicants applying to the same law school. They've got the same GPA, the same general profile, but one of them got a 164 and the other got a 170. The 170 gets scholarship money. The 164 score gets nothing. And law schools are not shy about this. They will tell it to you point blank. They need high LSAT medians to protect their rankings. So they pay for scores. And as the Grad Plus loans disappear next year, this becomes even more important. Because without easy federal borrowing, merit aid becomes the difference between manageable debt and financial suffocation. Now we're seeing a big shift in applicant value. Over the past 2 years, law school applicant numbers are up roughly 50%. But law school seats did not increase by 50%. Faculty didn't double, facilities didn't double, and scholarship budgets did not double either. And so you've got more people fighting for the same number of seats, like musical chairs. You've also got more people competing for the same scholarship dollars. And so that's a more competitive market. We see LSAT registrations doubling year over year, which means there's tens of thousands of dollars of more applicants, tens of thousands of applicants entering the pipeline. And more test takers means more score reports, means more high scorers, and more high scorers means higher medians. They're rising. And so a score that put you above the median a few years ago now barely keeps pace. And law schools love getting applications. It helps them increase their selectivity or decrease their selectivity. And if you're testing a bit later in the cycle, that means there's fewer seats, less money available, and you're against stronger early applicants. Now, the January LSAT's not too late. The February LSAT's not too late either, but if you're having to push it back to April or June, you might just want to delay and apply early next cycle instead when there's more scholarship money available, and it's going to be a little bit easier to get in. Now, we've also got LSAT score inflation to deal with. And that's not because the LSAT got easier, but because the score distribution is shifting. There are more people testing with accommodations, extra time, extra breaks, and these accommodations are important and necessary for many students, but they also change outcomes. If you've got time and a half, that means you've got 53 minutes per section rather than 35. If you've got double time, you've got 70 minutes per section rather than only 35. And so more time means fewer careless errors. You can double check things, you can slow down, and so your scores go up. And there's no asterisk on your score report disclosing that you got extra time. And so as extended time scores enter the pool, percentiles shift downward and medians rise. It used to be that you could get a 173 on the LSAT to be in the top 1%. Now you've got to get a 175 to be in the top 1%. And if you're testing under standard timing, you're competing on a tougher curve. That means aiming for last year's LSAT median may not be enough, and you might want to hit a school's 75th percentile in order to stand out. Now, this leads to a hard truth that most applicants don't realize until it's too late. A good LSAT score can still wreck you financially. You get in, tuition is, let's say, $70,000 a year. Total cost is $210,000 just for tuition, but then you got living expenses on top of that. Could run $300,000, all is said and done. And you don't get scholarship money, so you have to borrow heavily through private loans. You graduate, you get a modest salary job, and your monthly payments just go on and on for decades. But now let's flip that scenario. Imagine instead you're going to the same school, same tuition, but you scored higher. Let's say you receive $35,000 per year in scholarships. That's over $100,000 in tuition saved off the top. And so your debt load is lower, your monthly payments are lower as well, and you've got more career options. That's why you don't want to treat admissions like a lottery. You want to treat it like a negotiation. You plan early, you plan backwards from your goal, you aim above the medians, and you practice under real-world test day conditions. That way, you have more leverage to bring to the table when you apply. Law school is only getting more expensive, loans are riskier, applicant volume's up, but the LSAT remains the most controllable, highest impact variable in the entire process.